All right, guys, let's see if I can do this one right. Get the point across. As I alluded to last time, this is about what makes each of us the most beautiful, how we can be the best looking forms of ourselves, and why I think CrossFit, general physical preparedness, is the best way to get that ideal for each of us, and how it is different for each one of us. So let me back up a little bit and start with, I consider all of you guys athletes. I've said that before, right? You guys are athletes training to be successful at the sport of life. And that means being as generally physically prepared for all the challenges life throws at you as much as you can be, and for as long as you can be. And so not peaking, not having a certain look that I need to have big shoulders or big legs or muscular biceps. I need to be as physically useful in as many ways as I can be, and that will make my body look a certain way. I've said this before too, you may have heard me say this, but I think CrossFitters usually look their best naked. What we wear is, the form we wear is a body that has a large work capacity across broad time and modal domains. One of the definitions of CrossFit, that we have a form that can demonstrate large work capacities at short time frames, long time frames, with heavy weights, with light weights, all of these things. Generally, we can work at a lot of different tasks. And that brings out in us, my point of all of this will be, that makes us look even better than if we were focused on what we looked like. I want to look good. I don't think that's a surprise to you guys. I want to like the way I look when I see myself. I want other people to find me easy to look at. It's not the biggest concern in my life, but it's on the list. If it was the number one thing on my list, I think you guys might not be at the gym. You might not like me, because I would probably be a different person. If I was that self-absorbed that how I look is the number one thing of importance to me, I would not be as concerned with being kind, with being a good father, husband, son, all those things, which is my concern. I think you guys know this about me. I am a student of life, continually trying to get better at life. And that means being all those things in the roles I play: gym owner, husband, father, son. I ask of you guys only what I ask of myself. When I lead at the gym, I try to do so by serving. All these things. And down the list somewhere is that, yeah, I also want to look good, but it's not tops on the list. And I think if somebody asked you, does Dan care how he looks? You'd probably say, yeah, he does. And if they asked you, is it the most important thing? I feel pretty confident that you would say no. I am going to make the bold statement that by not caring about it, by caring about all that other stuff, I end up looking the best I possibly could look based on what nature has given me in the form I have been blessed with. And I want to demonstrate why I think from a very evolutionary, from a very natural basic level, CrossFit, or as it may have been called before, this general physical preparedness, results in you looking the best you can possibly look, even more so than if you were focused on how you could look. When you're doing CrossFit, you guys know you're often nervous before class, so you get used to facing things you're afraid of on a regular basis. You find out what your limits are all the time, because we push to our limits. That kind of thing brings a certain humility and comfort in your own skin, because you know what you are capable of and what you are not capable of. And I think that makes better people. And so all those things is what we're working on in CrossFit. But then our form doesn't have to fit into a certain box. It's not like I'm a round peg and I need to fit into a square hole. My form takes the form of Dan at his most physically capable. Let me compare that to, I would say, the bodybuilder or the model. There was a study done a little while back that I read about that was actually the brainchild for this episode, where they were showing women who is your ideal mate. They had a whole bunch of different guys, from the absolutely ripped jack dude to the kind of fit guy down the line. And the one most of them picked, the most popular one, was the one that was kind of fit, not the most fit. And then they asked them, which one would you maybe fantasize about? And for a lot more of them, it was the most fit guy. But they said that guy, and they were painting with a broad brush, but this is our stereotypes. They're for a reason often. Very self-absorbed. The word narcissistic was used, which is a very popular word these days. But by nature, yeah, the thought is if you look that good, you're very obsessed with looking that good. I think CrossFit combats this role because I think over time when you do CrossFit, you will look the best you can absolutely look without focusing on that, without that being your primary concern. Let me compare that again to the bodybuilder or the model. The bodybuilder means to look jacked while being really lean. And guys, we all know bodybuilders die all the time at young age. It's a very common thing. A lot of them are not very healthy. And I'm painting with a broad brush. I do know bodybuilders that are healthy and that are nice guys. Also models, male and female, they need to look really skinny or lean on camera. There's a whole bunch of different looks they need to look like. But you guys know it's very common for them to have eating disorders, drug problems, because they're trying to look a certain way. Doesn't matter what their body can do. Same with the bodybuilder. It doesn't matter what his body can do. It matters what the body looks like. And that has often been the form of this is beauty. But I will argue it is not the highest form of beauty. The highest form of beauty is being useful, being capable, and what that looks like, even to our basic instinctive level, is what we would be attracted to and what we would like to see on each of us. Let me give you a few examples of this. My wife, when I first met her, she was fit. It was at Lifetime. There was a bunch of trainers, and we were co-workers for a few years before I started to try to woo her. But I remember one time she was walking across the floor of the gym. I was sitting behind the desk, and I was like, that girl has a great ass. And I still remember that moment. And the point of that is to say, I liked how she looked back then. She looked great. I thought she was very attractive. Here we are. That was before we even dated, so 14, 15 years ago. My wife now, Janelle now, looks better than she's ever looked, in my mind. She looks great. She's more fit than she's ever been, and she is very concerned with being fit. She's very concerned with being fit and healthy because she wants to live a long life. I do too. She wants to be a good wife, good mother, good daughter-in-law, good friend, good trainer at the gym. These are her concerns. Does she want to look good? Yeah, I guarantee she wants to look good. I would say it's probably even less of a concern for her than it is for me, which when I say it that way is kind of sad. But the point is, if she was primarily concerned with how she looked, she wouldn't be the girl I know. She wouldn't be my wife, probably, because I would find that, to be honest, unattractive. But she's concerned with all these other things. Being a student of life, I think that makes us on the same path. And the nice side benefit is I get the best looking version of Janelle that I can possibly get. She's covered in lean, wonderful, beautiful muscle. I like how it looks. I like how it feels. I like what it does. I like all of it. She's naturally long and lean that way. Let me compare myself and Tim. Look at all the quarterfinals athletes, actually. All the quarterfinals athletes, we had 12 from the gym, different shapes, sizes, long, lean legs, stocky legs, broader shoulders, narrow shoulders. But what we all have in common is we all demonstrated definitely an above average work capacity across the workouts CrossFit provided. So fit people, and each of them looks different, and that's what I think each of us will look our best because we look that way. Because we have in common large work capacities, good recovery ability, having a body and heart and circulatory system that is very healthy, and that ends up making us look how we would naturally look our best. Whether that means I have a small butt or a big butt, big legs or little legs, big arms or little arms, it'll naturally demonstrate itself on you differently than the next person. And so let me take myself and Tim. Tim made is a master's athlete, made the quarterfinals as well. Tim's super fit. If Tim didn't work out, Tim would be skinny. If I didn't work out, I would be fat. So how we both look when we are fit is different. But I don't need to look like Tim, and Tim doesn't need to look like me. We both need to look as fit as we can, and that's going to look good on me in my way, and that's going to look good on him in his way. Go back even further. The Greeks definitely idolized being physically fit and physically capable. They were very into being able to handle life's physical challenges. We know this because they wrote a lot. They wrote a lot about everything. But look at the statues they made. They were big artists, the sculptures. Look at Michelangelo's David. That's obviously past that, but look at the statue of David. David was definitely a CrossFitter. Going back though to the Greeks, look at statues of Zeus or Hercules, some of their mythological figures. Hercules, obviously a CrossFitter, very fit, probably liked to come more on the heavy days than the long workout days, but he was definitely fit. Look at Zeus, their top dog in the god world. Now Zeus was a problem in a lot of ways. Zeus ran around on his wife all the time. Zeus tied Prometheus to a rock so that an eagle would eat out his liver just because Prometheus gave us fire. I feel like Zeus overreacted to that one. And Zeus also, based on what he looked like, would have been a hell of a masters athlete in CrossFit. I don't know what division he was in, but obviously an elderly gentleman who was keeping himself in really tip-top shape. So even back then, they knew this is the expression of beauty while also being physically fit. And I take back even further, when we were cavemen, trying to fight off other cavemen and kill things, we would have wanted mates that would help us survive in life. So having physically capable, healthy mates and what that looks like, we would be instinctively attracted to and like the look of. And so that's why this goes all the way back to bring that all the way to the present. I think in our DNA, what we're training for is to be the ultimate expression of being physically fit, and that's going to have the wonderful side benefit of actually making us look better than if we focused on looking good. So that is to circle all the way around with, CrossFit makes you look as good as you can possibly look. It makes that all of us, and it's going to look different on me than it looks on you, than it looks on Janelle, than it looks on Tim, than it looks on anybody. But I don't need to look a certain way because that's in vogue. I look how I look to be successful at life, and that is going to be as attractive and good looking as I can possibly be, while also having a more complete personality of being humble, being focused on being a good person, taking on challenges, all these kind of things. All right, guys, I think I made the point. Hopefully I did. Let me know if you have comments or thoughts. After this, we'll be back to normal Devil's Details. Right on. Talk to you later.